Blake Shelton was stunned watching The Voice Season 1 footage. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to my channel. I hope everyone is having a nice day before we begin the video. Please subscribe and give the video a thumbs up. Over the years, The Voice has delivered plenty of unforgettable performances, heartfelt breakthroughs, and red chair camaraderie and banter. And for longtime coach Blake Shelton, he brought it all back full circle while reminiscing with Reba McEntire during Season 23 of The Voice. Watch Season 28 of The Voice on Monday, September 22 at 8/7 on NBC and Peacock. Amid Shelton's announcement that Season 23 would be his final season as a coach, a heartbreaking development for many who adored the country king during his 12-year tenure. He looked back on where it all began while kicking it with McEntire, who served as a Season 1 battle advisor. The country-loving duo delighted in rewatching the Season 1 footage from The Voice. Back when Shelton was slightly more baby-faced, yet just as eager to see his artists soar to victory. Since this is Blake's last season and I am the mega mentor, we're gonna show some clips that I think will really take us down memory lane. McEntire began in The Voice's video, eager to jump right in. Blake and Reba react to Season 1 footage. The Voice NBC. You know Shelton set his artists up for success because he tapped McEntire as his first ever battle advisor. Their Season 1 team-up served as a delightful kickoff for McEntire and Shelton's stroll down memory lane. Season 1, first time. You and me right there, McEntire said with excitement, as they watched the clip of a Season 1 Shelton introducing his team to McEntire. This is my secret weapon, Reba McEntire, Shelton told the artists, a moment that brought instant joy to McEntire thanks to Shelton's voice change throughout the years. Right after this, did your voice change? McEntire teased. It must have, Shelton laughed. Oh my God, that was before puberty. As the clip continued, the younger Shelton raved about the edge McEntire brought to the competition. Reba definitely gives me the advantage over the other coaches, a 30-something Shelton told cameras in the Season 1 interview. There's not a more talented person. You look so young, McEntire raved as the first video ended. McEntire and Shelton did some mental math and realized the clip was from 2011, a decent chunk of time. I think we've weathered very well. Do you think so? McEntire asked. I think you have, Shelton said. Well, you have to, McEntire told him. You're more handsome than ever. I'm not even sure I'm alive right now, Shelton teased. Like literally. Things have changed a lot here on The Voice, McEntire mused. Because that was the first year in the US, and man, it's a well-oiled machine now. Blake Shelton and Reba McEntire opened up about stage fright. Reba McEntire and Blake Shelton on The Voice, The Knockouts premiere, episode 2311. McEntire and Shelton's nostalgic stroll led them to a second clip from their Season 1 chat with Dia Frampton, a Team Blake artist who struggled with stage fright before conquering those fears and becoming the show's first runner-up. In the video, Dia confessed her fears to McEntire, who reassured her that even big acts can get pre-show filters. Stage fright just comes with it, McEntire told Dia at the time. I still get it. When you lose that, it's just not exciting anymore. If you didn't have nerves, then you wouldn't want this, Shelton added as Dia thanked the coaches for the helpful advice. Long separated from the anxiety that comes from first becoming a performer, McEntire and Shelton chatted about their varying levels of stage fright as the second clip ended. Stage fright is something I just had to get over, McEntire said. You know, just keep doing it. The only time I still get nervous is if I don't know the song or if I'm wearing new shoes. Shelton laughed, adding that he always associated stage fright as part of the mystery of public performance. That's part of the draw of it for me, Shelton explained. Like, wow, that freaked me out. I want to do it again. Like a ride at Disney World, McEntire added. I don't get nervous anymore. I just have that anticipation. I can't wait to get on stage. Blake Shelton has spent over a decade as one of the most familiar faces on The Voice. But even for someone who has lived and breathed the show since its earliest days, nothing could have prepared him for the wave of nostalgia and disbelief that hit when he sat down to revisit the very first season of the series. The country superstar, who went from being a newcomer to a fixture on the show's red chairs, admitted he was stunned watching the old footage. His reaction was not just about seeing younger versions of himself and his fellow coaches, but about realizing how far both he and the show have come since that groundbreaking debut. In Season 1, The Voice was an experiment, an ambitious idea imported from overseas with a unique format that put the focus on blind auditions rather than image. The red swivel chairs, the button push, and the turning moment when coaches fought to win a contestant. These were revolutionary ideas at the time. Shelton remembers being skeptical about whether the show could truly work. He was a rising name in country music, but not yet the household figure he would later become. Agreeing to do a singing competition show was not the obvious career move for him. Yet when he looks back now, he marvels at how pivotal that decision was for his life and career. Watching the old footage, Blake said it felt almost surreal to see himself in those early days before the fame of The Voice changed the trajectory of his career. His hair was longer, his clothes more rugged, and his demeanor slightly unsure compared to the confident coach fans later came to love. He noted with humor how uncomfortable he looked in some of the earliest blind auditions, trying to find his role among big personalities like Christina Aguilera, Adam Levine, and CeeLo Green. At the time, Shelton was the country guy surrounded by pop and rock stars, and he has often admitted he did not know if he truly belonged. The footage reminded him of how green the show itself was. The set looked smaller, the production less polished, and the audience did not yet know what to expect. There was no guarantee that The Voice would succeed in a crowded market of singing competitions dominated by American Idol. Yet there was a freshness in the blind auditions, a thrill in watching the coaches discover talent without any preconceptions. Shelton said that revisiting those moments gave him a new appreciation for how groundbreaking the format really was and how much of a risk it was for everyone involved. What stunned Blake the most, however, was watching the contestants from that first season, many of them young, wide-eyed singers chasing their dreams. He recalled the raw emotion of those auditions, the nerves, the tears, and the joy when a chair turned. And he admitted that even though he had lived it in real time, watching it back all these years later hit him differently. The voices were still powerful, but what struck him was how much the show changed the lives of those contestants, whether they went on to careers in music or not. Shelton also reflected on his own growth as a coach over the years. In Season 1, he was learning the ropes, unsure of how to balance humor, encouragement, and critique. Today, he is remembered for his sharp one-liners, his playful rivalries with fellow coaches, and his ability to mentor country singers to success. But looking back, he could see the early version of himself searching for his voice as a coach. He laughed about how often he fumbled his words or struggled to pitch himself to contestants, especially when competing against Christina or Adam, who were quick with charm and persuasion. The old footage also captured moments that would foreshadow the long legacy of the show from the very beginning. Blake's chemistry with the other coaches created the spark that made The Voice different from other competitions. Fans loved the banter, the arguments, the laughter, and the camaraderie, and while rivalries sometimes grew heated, the mix of personalities kept viewers hooked. Shelton admitted that seeing the early banter with Adam Levine brought back memories of a friendship that would become one of the show's defining dynamics. The playful feud between country and pop, between laid-back Oklahoma charm and flashy Los Angeles cool, was born in those first episodes. As Shelton watched Season 1, he also acknowledged how The Voice shaped his career in ways he never expected. Before joining the show, he was already an established country singer, but not yet a mainstream celebrity. The Voice catapulted him into living rooms across America week after week for years. His music sales grew, his profile soared, and his personality endeared him to fans who might never have listened to country music without him. He admitted that it is impossible to separate his identity now from the show that made him more than just a singer, but a television star. The Voice also changed his personal life in profound ways. Shelton has said many times that he never could have predicted meeting Gwen Stefani years later when she joined as a coach. Their romance, which blossomed on set and eventually led to marriage, has been one of the most talked about stories to come out of the show. But revisiting season 1 reminded him of a time before all of that, before the fame, the romance, and the legacy, back when it was simply about 4 artists taking a chance on a new idea. For longtime fans of the series, the early footage serves as a time capsule not just of Blake, but of an entire era of television competition shows. The Voice's first season arrived when audiences were beginning to tire of predictable formulas and looking for something fresh. The blind auditions and chair turns captured imaginations, and Blake's authenticity helped ground the show in something relatable. His stunned reaction watching the footage reflects what many viewers feel looking back at how different the show was in its infancy compared to the powerhouse it later became. Shelton has always been candid about his emotions, and watching himself so young and unpolished brought out a mixture of pride and disbelief. He said it was humbling to see how uncertain he was, yet rewarding to realize how much he grew from that starting point. He described it as watching someone else, almost like looking at a stranger, yet knowing that the person on screen was the beginning of the journey that made him who he is today. The nostalgia trip has sparked new conversations among fans who have shared clips of those early episodes online. Many comment on how different Blake looked and how far he has come. Others reflect on their own memories of discovering the show and watching the first editions when it was all brand new. The footage has reignited interest in the early years of The Voice, reminding audiences why they fell in love with it in the first place. Industry insiders have noted that The Voice owes much of its staying power to Blake's presence. His humor, sincerity, and ability to connect with both contestants and viewers became a cornerstone of the series. Watching the early footage underlines how essential his role was from the very beginning, even when he was not fully aware of it. The stunned reaction he had seeing himself in season 1 is mirrored by the recognition that his journey on the show is now a major part of television history. As Shelton moves forward in his career, his time on The Voice remains one of the most defining chapters. Revisiting the first season footage has not only stunned him, but reminded everyone of the unique place he holds in the show's legacy. From the raw beginnings to the polished giant it became, The Voice and Blake Shelton grew together, evolving side by side. His reflection on those early days captures the heart of the show, a mix of risk, passion, and discovery that continues to resonate with audiences around the world. For Blake Shelton, watching The Voice Season 1 footage was like opening a time capsule. He saw not just a younger version of himself, but the origins of a cultural phenomenon. His stunned reaction speaks to the journey of growth, success, and unexpected turns that the show has brought to his life. What began as a gamble for a country singer uncertain about a new television experiment became the defining platform of his career, a place where he found fame, love, and legacy. Don't miss Miss Entire's return to the red chair by watching Season 28 of The Voice on Monday, September 22 at 8/7 on NBC and Peacock. Thanks for watching this video, and please subscribe to our American Idol YouTube channel for more updated news.